I've got an idea. Let's talk about $1 million finger flipping watch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to The Humble Horologist. My name is Anthony. And you know what? You may not know this about me, but I have a doctorate in ministry. But when it comes to watches, I'm still in elementary school. A seminary professor once told us, if you are a student of theology and are teaching other people about theology, that makes you a theologian whether you like it or not. Therefore, to borrow from the professor, if I'm a student of horology and one who teaches others about horological stuff, in other words, watches and timekeeping, then I guess I'm a horologist, whether I like it or not. Just a very amateur one. So, if you want to talk about the hypostatic union of Christ, propitiation, soteriology, or the teleological argument for the existence of God, you bring cigars, I'll bring the coffee, and we can sit and talk for hours. But if you want to talk literal high horology, all I can promise is that my face will exhibit a look of amazement. My head will nod a lot. And I will avoid using French or Swiss names. I won't shy from the conversation. But I will act wise by speaking very little. And that brings me to the subject of today, a watch of such horological importance and provenance that it could easily end up fetching one of the richest bids in watch auction history. I'm talking about what the insiders call the FFC Prototype, the finger flipping watch, the $1 million one-of-a-kind prototype designed and built by hand for director Francis Ford Coppola, hence the FFC, by none other than the founder of F.P. Journe, Francois Paul Journe himself. What makes this watch so special and this story so interesting, even to the amateur horologist like me, is how a watch so personal, so unique, so complex can first come about, then find its way to the auction block along with several other high-end luxury watches. If you missed it, director and filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola recently released a movie in which he invested over $100 million of his own money. The only problem is that it made only about a tenth of that back in ticket sales. Therefore, the movie-making legend has found himself in a little of a financial bind, so much so that he has now resorted to auctioning off his one-of-a-kind FFC Prototype by F.P. Journe, along with several other high-end watches. But what is so special about this watch? Just the fact that it was owned by Francis Ford Coppola? Oh no, there's much more to this story than that. The watch in question was first conceived by Coppola, then shared with Francois Paul Journe when they met back in 2012 at Coppola's Napa Valley winery. The meeting was a result of Coppola's wife previously gifting him another F.P. Journe watch, which incidentally is also being auctioned off in December. Coppola asked Journe if a hand had ever been used as a mechanism to tell time. It had not. What resulted was F.P. Journe spending, I think, the next 11 years developing the FFC Prototype, which is now up for sale. This makes the first time a mechanism like this was made and the first time F.P. Journe built a watch based on an idea imagined by someone else. So if you're fortunate enough to be the highest bidder, you could own a piece of watch history. Let's look at the one that Coppola's wife gave him. The value of this piece is estimated to be between $120,000 and $240,000. And this watch is not a one-of-a-kind made for a famous movie director. This watch doesn't have a hand-carved mechanical hand, never used on any other watch in the history of watches. So, even at $1 million, the FFC seems reasonable, wouldn't you think? Since the creation of the original FFC, several more pieces have been made, even one with a blue hand. But why is this story so intriguing to me? There are several reasons. To begin with, how often do you see something completely original, especially in a watch? Most every watch these days is beholden to another watch of some kind in some way or another. But this one, the FFC, not only sent FP Journe to the drawing board, he had to make a whole new drawing board. Honestly, I'm a little surprised we haven't yet seen an homage from Pagani Design. But I have to say, if we ever do, it will be a remarkable achievement. Because how will they make the hand mechanism do all that finger flipping with just a Seiko NH35? Then there's the price. I cannot imagine paying that much, $1 million plus, for a single watch. Again, my brain cannot conceive paying $1 million for anything. It's hard for me to contemplate paying $20 for a cheeseburger, much less 7 digits for a watch. But look, I'm not against wealth. I wouldn't turn it down if you offered it to me. It's just that I can't conceive an existence where auctioning off a $1 million watch would only cover a portion of my expenses. Something else that amazes me is how Francis Ford Coppola can even bring himself to sell this historic timepiece. I mean, I have watches that aren't even worth $50, and I have a hard time selling them. I hate getting rid of any watch once I have it, so I can't imagine letting this one go. And if that wasn't enough, he's even selling the FP Journe that his wife gave him. Of all the watches I'd hold on to, no matter what, that would be the one I would keep, the one my wife gave me. But last but not least, I know this may irritate some of you, but I can't help but be intrigued at all the absurdity of it all. I'm not even thinking about the argument of how many poor children $1 million could feed. What I think is mind-blowing is how irrelevant such a work of art can become. There are literally people who would kill to own this watch. Yet when one's life is hanging in the balance, $1 million watch, a $2 million watch, a $10 million watch can't even buy another hour. Think about this. Everyone who owns this watch, from the creator of it to the last buyer, will one day have to surrender his grip, no matter how tight. So, if the truth be told, all the Phillips auction in New York City can accomplish, for however much this watch sells, is a transferable lease. Nobody can own it forever. So, have you got a few million extra dollars hidden away? Or do you think that you can make an offer you can't refuse? Maybe you should make plans to be in New York City December 6th and 7th for the 13th annual New York Watch Auction. At least bid on the watches that have no reserve, for crying out loud. Heck, put $100 down in my name. You just never know. But thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Please consider doing that. Click the appropriate buttons. Like this video if you liked it. Share it. And if you're going to the New York auction, let me know about it. Seriously, I would like to know. And until next time, remember, watches can be auctioned, but time can't. God bless.